A Watches and Wonders és hasonló órás rendezvények nem csak arra jók, hogy megismerjük az újdonságokat, hanem arra is, hogy megismerjük azokat az embereket, akik mozgatórugói az iparnak és a márkáknak. Kulisszatitkokhoz, háttérinfókhoz férhetünk hozzá, és közelebb kerülhetünk ahhoz a gondolkodásmódhoz, ami egy-egy gyártót jellemez. Míg a svájci óraiparról sokszor gondoljuk, hogy karót nyelt, öntelt, leszármazottak vezetik, mert ilyenre is látunk példát, a beszélgetéseim során egyre többször találkozom fiatalos és fiatal vezetőkkel, akik nem csak profitorientált cégvezetőként, hanem valódi órakedvelőként, órabubuként is tekintenek munkájukra. Láthattatok erre már példát a csatornán is, amikor a Moser tulajdonosával és ügyvezetőjével, Eduard Meilannal, vagy az Oris illetékesével, Marco Gemperlivel készítettem interjút. Mind a két interjú jó példa arra, hogy milyen jó hatással lehetnek a fiatalok a márkákra, és ezáltal később az egész óraiparra. A tavaszi Watches and Wonders-on volt lehetőségem interjút készíteni a Zenith termékfejlesztési igazgatójával, Romaine Mariettaval, aki már gyakornokkora óta, tehát 19 éve dolgozik a Zenithnél. Tehát ha valakinek, akkor neki van rálátása arra, hogy hogyan működik egy gyártó belülről. Az elmúlt 19 és az elkövetkezendő néhány év beengedett betekintést az interjú során. Jó szórakozást!
A kronométer.hu bemutatja.
That's fine.
Okay. So you are the product development
Chief Product Officer, yeah.
Chief Product Officer.
Yes, absolutely.
Okay. Since when you work for Zenith?
I work for the brand since 2006, so 19 years.
How it started for you? The love of the watches, the passion about watches, when it started in your life?
My father is working in the industry since 45 years and more. He was owning a dial manufacturer, so it was a bit running into my veins, but I was not that much interested about watches, but I started at Zenith as a trainee, and like the journey of my journey started 19 years ago. I had the chance to evolve, to constantly change the positioning, and then I felt in love with watches when I started to work with the product guys. I'm not an engineer. I have done some advertising, communication, marketing study. So voilà, I learned everything from scratch on the field inside the manufacturer, and I'm a single brand guy since now 19 years at Zenith. Yeah.
You've been an intern at Zenith at first.
I started as a trainee for 4 months, and I've been let's say hired for the marketing product junior. So I took care of one collection, marketing the product at that time, and then 2 collection, and then the whole collection. And then I started at the developing the watches when Jean-Frédéric Dufour came at Zenith in 2009, and then I took also over the Swiss market commercially. So I also did some commercial for almost 2 years, and then I came back to the product. And since then, I'm the head of product, and I also took over the heritage. I'm now at the executive committee, so I had a nice journey within the brand and the group. So I'm super happy. Yeah.
Okay, what was the first product you worked on in 2006?
But the first watch on which I worked was the most complicated watch that Zenith did at that time, and it was a minute repeater, a big date, a split-second chronograph. We only did like 2 or 3 examples of them, and the guy who was working with, taking care of all the collection, told me that if you want to learn, you have to maybe learn the most difficult, most complicated watch that we did. So I had to write the user manual of this watch. And I didn't know nothing, honestly, about watches, so I started on this. So that was a good training.
Is that the Nataf era, right?
Yes, exactly, absolutely.
Was it completely different in the factory for you in that era?
Well, the approach of Thierry was a bit different, but we also had a lot more collection. We used to have 15 different lines. Collection inside the global collection. We had way more references, more than 800, and Thierry was very productive, very extravagant in a way. We were doing fantastic event back then, really colorful, and his approach was a bit different. It was also the beginning, let's say, of LVMH within the watchmaking division. So they just took over Taguière at that time also, and then they also bought back Hublot, Bulgari, so they also made their own journey into the watchmaking business. But the brand itself, let's say, never moved in terms of spirit, of value. Maybe we had several strategies, of course, because we also changed quite often some CEOs. Now Benoit, our actual CEO, is the 6th CEO I have known who I've worked for. So we changed a bit of strategy. We have been maybe not consistent as we should, but the brand values remain the same, and the spirit of Jean-Charles Jacot and all these is still the same. So voilà, we tried a lot of things, and now we are more centered and focused on the true value and DNA of the brand, I think.
How you became a watch guy? As far as I know, you're a watch guy, not just a worker at a watch factory, but a true watch guy.
Once again, I'm considering myself like you. I'm a passionate geek about watches. I love watches. I didn't love watches at start, but I fell in love with the people, the craftsmanship, the history of each brand, and I'm collecting. I'm a big fan of a lot of brands, and I'm checking everything what is going out. I'm always talking about watches. So it's just because I have been able to discuss with a lot of watchmakers, a lot of different guys that had really craft and that explained me a lot about watches, specifically at Zenith. But then, of course, you meet retailers, you meet journalists, and you share the passion. So it's really when I would say that when I really first started the development of watches with Jean-Fred Dufour back in 2009. So I had the responsibility of developing, and we were only 3 guys, the designer, myself, Jean-Fred, and the technicians. Daniel, at that time, we were 4 people developing the watches. I mean, you have to do it. You have to be there. You have to... And then Jean-Fred was all about details. So he teach me also a lot of things about attention to details, and I just fell in love. And now I'm a geek like you guys.
So you saw all the periods of
Yes.
developing the product, the sketches of the design, and the movement they used, and how to assemble the movement.
Absolutely.
And so on.
Yeah, but I'm taking care of, as I said, the heritage, but also all the creative studio. We have a creative director working close to me, Sébastien Gobert, which is an amazing guy with really nice, talented. He's a designer too. I'm not a designer. I know a lot about watches, but I'm not designing myself. But I can have, of course, an opinion on things. And of course, we are working from scratch. We can be starting from a movement, starting from a design. Next door, in the front of our office, it's the movement development. So we have a lot of discussion and back and forth with the engineers. So voilà, and after 19 years, of course, you know pretty much everything within the industry, within your brand, but. One thing which is cool in the watchmaking industry is that you are learning every day. You can learn something every day, which is amazing.
Is there a specific part of the Zenith history that touched you?
Well, there's several of them. Of course, the Charles Vermeau story is a very nice one because it's a human-oriented story. The guy really was so much in love with his job, with the fact that you have created a super nice caliber, and some people wanted to stop it because it was also the quartz crisis, and the guy decided by himself to save it. It's in reality, it's a fantastic history. So this is absolutely touching, of course. But the story about the caliber 135, the way it has been developed, the guy who developed it, I met him. He was 100 years old. So I met him when he was 100 years old back in 2009. So I had the chance to discuss with him how he developed the movement. So it was also something cool to explain to my colleagues. I mean, plenty of history like this, not related absolutely to the history of the brand itself, but also the different meetings and encounter you can have along the way, talking with passionate people. They all have a specific history with their first watch. Sometimes it was a Zenith, and they know the El Primero. So all these touching moments of discussion that you can find along the journey is super interesting. And you never know what's gonna bring you every day something. I mean, you think you have a daily task, day-to-day business, but it's always different, which is cool. That really keeps me waking up every day with a smile, and that's why I'm still there. That's why I'm a single brand man, but that's because I love the brand.
You're planning your next plenty of years, I guess.
We will see. I mean, We'll see. I don't know what's the future. I have no crystal ball. I love my job. I love what we do. We have fantastic project ahead of us. So yeah, we'll see. Of course.
Do you think there is a specific collection of the brand which is the main collection, which is the most important, or?
But in reality, if you think about turnover and then the sales, of course, which are the key. The two main pillars are Chronomaster and DeFi collections. These are the, let's say, strategical collection in terms of turnover, in terms of sales. The bestseller is the Chronomaster Sport. Then you have the Skyline. Pilot and GFG now will remain, let's say, tactical, but it doesn't mean they are not important in terms of what they are providing in terms of turnover to the brand is less, of course, than the Chronomaster and DeFi. But it's because also they are very much part of the collection. Chronomaster is all about the El Primero, the chronograph, which is very famous, obviously. And DeFi is a collection that is, in reality, it's young in terms of design, but it's old in terms of inspiration and vintage-oriented side, and Pilot too. We have the name Pilot since 1904, so more than 120 years ago. So, and GFJ is the name of our founder back in 1865. So we try really to enrich and to talk about our fantastic history of uninterrupted 160 years. We are celebrating 160 years today.
Does the Chronomaster Sport?
This one. That's the one here,
exactly.
Which is the bestseller.
Can we say that it's a new generation in the Chronomaster history? Because
yes.
Because it was, I guess, a huge success.
Yeah, it has been very well received when we introduced it in 2021. It became directly the bestseller of the brand. Back in January 2021, when we launched it, we received so many requests that after a few months, 1/3 of the total production was only on this one, only one references. I never seen that. I've never experienced that over the 19 years. So Chronomaster is a nice recipe of a lot of different ingredients coming from the past, from the future, but mostly, of course, vintage inspired, the 3-color subdials, but we have tried to create a very modern version of a chronograph, and it's equipped with the 3rd generation of the El Primero. So the first one was the 3019 in 1969, then it became the 400, and then it became the 3600. So we are now working on the 3rd generation of the El Primero. And the El Primero is the only movement that has been created 56 years ago and that is still there in the watchmaking industry, which is an achievement and fantastic, and it's a demonstration of how good it has been developed.
Being a part of the LVMH group, the group and the mentality of the group and other brands in the group has any effect on the product lineup?
They are, of course, they are supporting us. First of all, the LVMH group is the most powerful luxury group in the world, and obviously we are taking a lot of benefits from this because it's opening a lot of doors. But they are leaving us a lot of room, a lot of independence in the way we want to do it with the brand, the vision we can have, the strategy. Of course, they validate, but even sometimes they don't agree with what they see. But they said, look, if you believe it's the right direction, then we will follow you. And then, of course, you have to demonstrate that it's and provide results. But in total transparency, they are very much leaving us the room and the independence to work the way we want. And that's also why I love that brand and that group. It's because you have independence, you have an impact on things. So it means that if you have an idea, you can defend it, you can come with arguments, and then you can realize it, which is something which is not happening in all the groups.
And meanwhile, you can get support.
Yes.
I guess Zenith doesn't have its own ceramic factory.
Yes, exactly. We are also taking benefits of the synergy. We are, let's say, sharing some, of course, also suppliers. We are sharing the knowledge. So obviously, if you want to work with the ceramic, we can benefit of the experience of Hublot, with Sapphire also with Hublot. Then if we want to work with gem set, with the stone, we can work with the jewelry division. So obviously, as the group is so big and in so many different industry, we can take benefit of this.
These are pure benefits. So
yeah,
of course,
absolutely.
And In 2017, if I remember right, the new oscillator was presented in the lab.
Yeah, DeFi Lab and then DeFi
Yes.
Inventor, yeah.
Yes, I don't know whether the inventor anytime I saw in real life.
Yeah.
But what happened with these movements? For example, the lab.
But the lab were the concept watch. It was 10 unique pieces that we have done. By the way, one client came with it like an hour ago. A very good collector, a friend of mine, came with one of the watch. So one of
and worked perfectly and buzzing and
yeah, it was still working perfectly. And then we did create the inventor in 2020. And then the problem is that it's very difficult to produce the silicon oscillator, and we are not producing it because it's a very specific technology. So we are relying on a supplier, and this supplier is struggling a bit to providing this. Then it came out that we have created the Chronomaster Sports, and then we are redeveloping all the collection. So all these projects have been put a bit on the side, on hold, standby. It doesn't mean we will not come back once again to it, but it's for the time being, since now 2021, it has been put a bit on the side. But yeah, maybe we will go back on this field because it was a groundbreaking invention. It's true, it's fantastic, it's working quite well, but it's still a young technology in reality. And you have to make research and to be sure that it's working, because I mean, obviously having this in a watch that you are wearing every day with all the shocks, with all the elements that can have an impact on the magnetic fields, sweat, humidity, you name it. It has impact on this oscillator and on the precision of the watch, the reliability of the watch, and the robustness. So, voilà, it's still on hold.
When it was presented, we have plenty of discussion with watchers,
I'm
watch
sure.
nerds,
Yeah.
in forum topics and so on.
Yeah.
And everyone had the question whether will it be in mass production or no. Now it's almost 10 years passed, and it's now in still not mass production.
It's still not
so
the
we are
case.
still waiting.
That's
for
why
that.
I told you it's still a young technology that needs to be. It takes time to let's say not develop, but make sure that it works, that it will really last long. But I mean, there's a lot of different brands working on this, so I'm sure that somehow it will come back, of course, on the table, and when it will be absolutely ready, then we can roll out and we can think about serial production.
What do you think of the downsizing nowadays in the watch industry?
Well, it's always we're going bigger, we're going smaller, we're going less expensive, we're going more expensive. It's circumvolution. Honestly, for me, I like it. But I'm the type of guy who is not absolutely, let's say, only consider myself with a watch that has to be below 40 millimeter, otherwise I don't wear it. No, I'm the type of guy who said, look, you have to try it on, look if it fits you, if you love it, don't listen to the people who said it's too big, blah, blah, blah. I mean, try it on. But it's true that nowadays we are coming back to smaller sizes. What for me and for us is important at Zenith is to really have the right proportion. Because if the movement has one proportion and then you develop something that it's too big, you see it, design-wise. And then if it's too thick, whatsoever. So the proportion are key. And this, for me, makes a beautiful watch. If it's well-proportioned, then it works. Look what has been done with this watch, for example, which I love. I own the former version, which is thicker. This is much better. And I love Max, and I say hello to Max. But you see, you can work on things that has good proportion. We have the chance to have movement that have great diameters, not that thick. So it's cool. We have a lot of room to work, and we are also following the trend. But it's, for example, this one, the new 3 hands, it's a 39. It could have been 35, 36, 37. You also have to find the right balance that will suit the most wrist possible, because we are selling worldwide. We are selling to Chinese, we are selling to Americans, to Middle East guys. So we have to find also the right balance that will please the most of people.
I asked the size because under your influence, I mean, under your period, there are plenty of revival or heritage
Yeah,
models presented,
yeah.
and these are the same size than previously. For example, the A386 with the Guy Frere bracelet, it's still the small size as it was, which is sad for me because I have a huge wrist. So it's extremely small on me, but at least it's true to its heritage.
Exactly. That's a decision we have took. When we do revival, we want to be respectful for what has been done, and we are reviving the same size, the original proportion, because we believe that it's the right one. But obviously, it could be bigger. Doesn't mean we will never do it in the future, but we have decided to be respectful. And yeah, the El Primero, as I said, we are still working with the same movement, so it means that we can still recreate the watch from 50 years ago, from 40 years ago, or 30 years ago. But it also worked very well in 41. It's the same movement, the same. The El Primero allow us to work between 37 to 42 in very good, harmonious and well-balanced design. Of course, when it's a bit bigger, then you start to see that the counters are a bit more in the center, and then you have to, let's say, cheat a bit in terms of design, which we can do it, it's fine. For example, this one is a 42.5, but it works perfectly, it's super balanced. But yeah, now in the collection, we have watches from 36 up to 46. So we have a 10 millimeter scale of difference within the same movement.
In the last years, there were plenty of colorful watches at Zenith.
Yeah.
Are you planning
Once
to
again?
Yeah, here's a blue one. And last year there was the orange dial.
Yeah.
Are you planning to continue this and presenting more and more colorful
absolutely.
watches?
Yeah. Here we are presenting to the press, communication-wise, the anniversary edition, but there will be more model in this year to come, and also with colors. And there will be also a cool collaboration that we will release normally in September with colorful piece. I'm teasing you a bit, but yeah, of course. I mean, it's cool to bring some colors, to bring some more joyful, playful colors, because I mean, a watch doesn't need to be only black dial or silver dial, and it's good because you can also provide a stone dial. You can put some gem set. You can now with the technology of nowadays, you can really play with a lot of different colors and a lot of texture finishings, which is cool.
You mentioned this model plenty of times, and I see you wore this the same. Yeah, I think it has a very strong presence in your vision.
But I'm a big fan of the Caliber 135, because for me it's really a key model that really represents the movement itself. Represent really one of the biggest chapter of the history of the brand, which is the chronometry era. Zenith is the most awarded brand within the chronometry prices, more than 2,300 prices, ahead of Patek, ahead of Omega. Back then, you were really measuring the notoriety, the size, the awareness of a brand with this kind of chronometry prices, because watches at that time were also tools, so it needed to be precise. Nowadays, we don't need it anymore. We have the phone, we have iPhone, we have iWatch, we have everything to be precise. And the quartz has been invented, but back then, precision was key. It's still key. I'm not saying it's not key. It has to be precise. It has to be reliable. But at that time, Zenith was among the best one, and the Caliber 135 won 10% of these chronometry prices. So for us, it's a very important movement. The industry also know that this movement is fantastic. So that's why we have decided to reproduce it. We have been able to reproduce it because we still had the original technical plans drawn by Ephraim Jobin, the guy I mentioned before that I met. And by the way, the anecdote is fantastic, but I'm telling you, in 2009, we have heard that the guy was still alive. And we said, okay, he must be very old. And he was 100 years old, and he was celebrating his birthday. And that was with Jean-Frédéric Dufault. And he told me, we need to get in touch with him, and we need to know where it is. And the guy was living next to the manufacturer in a medicalized center, for old people. So we decided to invite him, to gift him a watch, and just to exchange if it's possible, because we know that sooner or later the guy will of course pass away. So he came to the manufacturer. He was barely able to walk, but still quite energetic. And he sat down at a table like this, and then we brought to the table, the original technical plans that he drawn by himself. So everything was written by his hand. And the guy was like, oh, he illuminated himself like a young guy, so you can feel really the passion and the fire in the eyes. And he said to us, you know what? I barely remember what I ate at breakfast this morning, but I will tell you how I developed this movement. And then he explained it for 15 minutes. That was just amazing, crazy. That's one of the best souvenirs I have. Anyway, that's an anecdote, but this is a very important movement. We did also a collaboration with Kari Voutilainen to highlight this movement.
So this experience with the guy gave you plenty of emotional load
exactly.
to do this again.
Yeah. We already had that idea to bring back the movement in 2009, but it was
a huge boost.
Yeah, but it was also not the right time, not the right period. It's a huge investment to reproduce a movement, so you have to put a lot of money on the table because you have to reproduce everything, and which we did now, since we took the decision in 2022 after the collaboration with Kari. We had so many good feedbacks about this collaboration with Kari that we said, okay, look, now we have to come back with this movement. And this is what we have done to launch it, to prepare it for the 160th anniversary. So this year, we are able to provide this new version of the Caliber 135 in the new GFJ. And we have improved the movements because now it's state-of-the-art to the modern days. 72 hours per reserve instead of 40, stop second, there was no stop second back then, refined finishing, interior angles, hand finishing and so on. So now it's really a modern version, but respectful to the past, with still the big balance wheel from the old days, the same thickness, the same proportion. And voila, now it's a very strong platform for the future to build for the collection GFJ. So it's an important shift for the vision and the strategy of the product development for us for the coming years.
Can we wait for I know it's an inappropriate question, for a plastic watch from Zenith, because I see more and more brands. For example, TAG I have just presented.
Yeah, but TAG here it does make sense because they had the Formula One,
of course,
but we didn't make such product, so do not expect us to do this kind of things. That's for sure. We will never do. We are a manufacturer. We are equipping all our watches with our own movement. So it's all about mechanical watches, manufacturer watches. We are producing a certain amount of watches. It's below 25,000 watches a year. So we are not Rolex. We are not Omega. We will never be below 25,000 watches a year. So it's a rather small quantity, so we want to keep the quality. That's also why we are reducing the quantity on this one. It will never be produced in a mass production product, and that's why it will always remain with precious materials, only platinum, rose gold, yellow gold, white gold, and voila. We don't plan to do it in steel, for example, but we will see maybe in the future. But I'm talking about 5 years in 5 years time or whatsoever. But no plastic watch, no moon watch type of Zenith in the future, that's for sure.
Okay, that's great. I'm glad.
This I can promise.
Okay. Could you name at least one brand who you think Zenith is competing with?
Well, there's plenty. I mean, all the chronograph-oriented brands are, in a way, our competitors. So, of course, Omega, Breitling, the Daytona, the Rolex, you name it. There are so many. The IWC also. For me, IWC, Jaeger, Breitling, Omega, and Rolex are amongst the biggest collectors. If you compare collection to collection, globally, IWC is the closest, I would say, because they also have pilots, they have classical watches, they have chronograph, they have engineer is a type of DeFi in a way. So I would say that IWC could be but we don't have the same positioning. We are a full real manufacturer, so all the watches are equipped with our watches, with our own movement, which is not the case for all these people except Rolex and Jaeger, I will say. And then even, you have to consider everyone as a competitor, and competition is good. Competition is healthy. Competition helps you to also push your own boundaries. So we are checking everything. Honestly, I'm checking the TITKOK release up to the Richard Mille release, and then you can inspire yourself. Even Tudor can be a competitor in somehow, maybe even more for Tagoyer or for Breitling or for other, because they have a price point which is lower than us. We have an average selling price us at 12,000, so it's quite high. So voilà, there's a lot of competition out there, but I love competition. We love competition, and clients needs to have the choice. And I think that they have to consider more the brand Zenith when it comes to buying a watch.
Exactly. And as a manufacturer, for how many years you have the exact models? Don't tell me any of the exact models from the future, but for 5 or for 10 years, or for how many years you know what will be presented, for example, in 2028?
No, we are creating a roadmap of what we want to do. More specifically, you have to look ahead of time when you develop movements, because it takes more time. So we have a roadmap for the development of movement up until 2030-32 already. And then we are working on the design of the collection. Already we have some of the models ready, and we know exactly how they will look like for 2029, 2028. But we also are very agile, flexible. We are a manufacturer, so we can very quickly see how the watch will look like. If we start from scratch, we do a design of a watch, and then we take the movements, we can assemble it, and we can have a look at it. So in 2 months, roughly, we can have a watch that makes tick-tack. You can put it on the wrist, and you can say, okay, it looks good, then you can refine it. So we don't need necessarily to look way too much ahead, because we are still also producing a small quantity of watches. Rolex, of course, they have to think about the future, because they have a big production. They do more than 1.2 million watches a year. So you cannot do the same exercise if you are Rolex than if you are Zenith. So we have a bit more room to adapt ourselves to the trend, to change something. 2026, we know exactly what we want to do, but we will also let us the possibility to change small details if we think that and if we have time to do it.
So this year's novelties are made in the spirit of the 160th anniversary. Could you tell me a few words about this? Why the blue?
Yeah.
Why the exact?
Yeah, absolutely. This year we are celebrating 160 years, so we wanted to pay tribute to our past, to the actual moment, to the present, and also the future. So we wanted to create a set of watches that represent us the best nowadays and also for the future. So that's why you have an heritage side of anniversary pieces with the GFJ, and you also have more modern, more contemporary looking watches with all the 3 other chronographs from each collection. There's 1 model per collection here on the trade. These are the anniversary pieces. They are all limited to 160 units. They are all going to be only available this year. There is 1 Pilot, 1 Chronomaster, 1 Defy Skyline. So the 3 benchmark iconic chronograph of each collection, representing Chronomaster, Defy, and Pilot. And we are introducing the GFJ Caliber 135, which is a new collection with the new movements. They are blue because we took over the blue color as our corporate color, because it's evocating the sky, the night sky, the starry sky, and Zenith is the highest point in the sky, and our logo is a star, so that's why we have decided to make it blue, but not a dark blue. We wanted to have a popping blue, a playful, joyful blue, to make them standing out of the crowd, and that's why you have these ceramic pieces. First time ceramic on Chronomaster. Second time we do a ceramic in Defy, but it was black. Now we have it in blue. Second time in Pilot, because we have it already in black ceramic, but for the first time in blue. And here the GFJ, which we already talked about. So these are the limited edition anniversary pieces of the 160th anniversary.
Yeah, lapis lazuli is the perfect choice for this purpose.
Exactly. And lapis, of course, is a stone dial. It's a precious stone that is quite often associated to platinum. And here it's a natural choice once again, because it looks like a starry sky, and it's once again to be evocating the sky, the night sky, and the starry sky that we are cherishing with the brand at Zenith.
Great, thank you.
You're welcome.
Thank you very much for these informations and
My
the
pleasure.
insight to manufacture
My pleasure.
and the possibility for the interview.
Cool.
Thank you.
Well, you're welcome.
Bízom benne, hogy ti legalább annyira élveztétek az interjút megnézni, mint én elkészíteni. Kérdéseitekkel ne habozzatok a kommentmezőben támadni, és találkozunk jövő hét szerdán a szokott időben. Sziasztok!
A műsort támogatta